This is chapter 17 of the book titled God's Gift to Woman by Michael Baisden. Calm down, girl, Terry said as she paced back and forth in her office. It's not like you're meeting his mama. Normally, Terry didn't care about what people thought of her, but the situation with Eddie was different. He and Julian were like brothers. There wasn't a day that went by that he didn't mention Eddie's name and talk about something funny they had done while they were growing up. It was obvious that Julian valued his opinion about everything, including women. Just as she finished checking her makeup in her compact mirror for the third time, there was a knock at the door. She quickly put away her purse, straightened her skirt, and took off her conservative eyeglasses. "Come in. The door's open." "Where the party at?" Janet yelled as she came strutting into the room wearing a snugly fitted pink skirt and matching pumps. "I can't wait to meet Julian's fine friend Eddie. Look at you, dressed up like a hoochie mama." "Whatever," Janet said. "You're just jealous because you don't have these sexy hips." She slapped herself on the butt. "Like that Climax song says, the men all pause when I walk in the room," she sang. "They better pause before they trip over your big behind. You could sit a cocktail table on it and then the drink. But at least I'm not afraid to show off what I've got. You, on the other hand, try to be slick about exposing your stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, then tell me what's up with the 2 buttons undone on your blouse. I know you're trying to show off a little cleavage." "Girl, please. And where are those thick Sally Jesse Raphael glasses?" Janet laughed. "I've never known you to take those off, not even for Michael." "Ooh, somebody's an LOVE. You're out of your MIND, Terry said. "I'm just trying out a new look, that's all." "Well, if you're not in love, you must be whipped." Janet jumped on top of Terry's desk. "So tell me, was it good?" "Was what good?" "You know, it." Janet thrust her fist back and forth in a stroking motion. "I beg your pardon. I would never give it up that quickly. And besides, a real lady would never discuss what goes on in her bedroom." "Heifer, please. If you were getting good loving, you would be yodeling butt naked on top of the Transco Tower." "Maybe I just keep my business on the down low," Terry boasted. "I could be rocking Julian's world for all you know. When a woman has gone without sex for as long as you have, it won't be hard to figure out." "And why is that?" "Because good dick will have you talking to people you don't even like and laughing at shit that ain't even funny," Janet said. "And you haven't cracked a smile yet." Just then there was a knock at the door. Janet jumped off the desk and pulled her braids back to expose more of her face. Terry played it cool. She put back on her glasses and slowly walked to the door. When she opened it, Julian and Eddie were standing outside, smiling from ear to ear. "Welcome, gentlemen. Come on in," Terry said while gesturing with her hand. Eddie barely got one foot in the door before he started laying on the old charm. Julian was right. "You are fine. And sexy, too." Eddie looked her up and down. "All this body and the mind, too? Man, you hit the jackpot." "Eddie, this is Terry. Terry, this is Eddie," Julian said. "Nice meeting you, Eddie. Julian has told me all about you." "Well, don't believe everything you hear. I'm actually a very shy person." Eddie kissed Terry's hand. "I doubt that." "And who is this lovely young lady?" Eddie said while staring Janet up and down. "Oh, that's just Janet," Julian said while walking over to have a seat. "You know, the one I told you about that's always giving me a hard time. Forget you, Julian." She slapped him on the back of his head as he walked past her. "Hey, don't hurt those pretty little hands on his hard head." Eddie grasped her hands and kissed them. "A real woman shouldn't resort to violence. Let your man fight your battles." "I would, if I had a man." "You're single?" Eddie acted surprised. These brothers down here in Texas must be blind, crippled, and crazy. How could they allow a fine woman like yourself to walk around unattached? You know what? I've been asking myself that exact question. Janet moved in closer to Eddie as if she was in a trance. Some men just don't know a good thing when they see it. You need to spend more time up north, baby. Cold weather makes for warmer hearts. Excuse me, Romeo and Juliet, Terry interrupted. Do I need to pull out my hip boots? 'Cause it's getting deep up in here. Jealous. Janet stuck out her tongue. After their hormones calmed down, Eddie and Janet took a seat on the sofa. Julian sat on the love seat opposite them, with Terry by his side. So, tell me, Terry, what is it that you and Janet have in common? Excuse me? Well, you're obviously a mature woman, a professional, and you seem to be very, conservative. Janet is more free-spirited, earthy, and she's very youthful. Eddie gave Janet a very enticing look. She was loving every minute of it. I guess I'm curious about how two women who seem so different could be such close friends, especially with the generation gap. Well, Eddie, Terry sounded irritated. What you don't know about Miss Earthy is that she's at the top of her class at TSU and about to complete her master's in psychology. So as you can see, we do have a lot in common, intellectually and professionally. And by the way, I'm not that old, and she's not that young. Well, excuse me, Dr. Ross. I didn't mean to hit a nerve. No need to apologize. I'm perfectly secure with who I am. Besides, there are plenty of men who are perfectly comfortable dating a mature woman, Terry said confidently. Maybe that's an indication as to how mature and secure they are. Touché, Julian yelled out. But since we're on the subject of friendship, Terry continued, I'm curious about a few things myself. Like, what is it that you and Julian have in common? Your personalities are totally opposite. Do you want the grown folks' answer to that question or the PG-13? We're all adults here. Okay then. Eddie sat up on the edge of the sofa and looked Terry dead in her eyes. Julian put his head down and gritted his teeth. There was no telling how brutally honest Eddie would be. Well, when we met back in school, I would have to say we shared three things in common. Our interest in sports, our love of fast cars, and our appetite for chasing pussy. But as we have matured, we have more worthwhile things in common, like love of our career and family. I didn't know you have kids, Janice asked nervously. I don't, but I would love to have a family someday. Julian let out a sigh of relief. Well, on that note, let's eat. Julian walked towards the door. Eddie and Terry were still sitting on the sofa staring at one another like two pit bulls. She didn't like him and he didn't like her, but neither of them wanted to spoil the afternoon, so they let it go. Hey Janet, do you mind taking me on a tour of Houston? Eddie said while holding her hand. It's my first time here. I would love to see the sights. Sure, if it's okay with Julian. Please go. Be my guest. He's all yours. Let me have the keys so I can get my bags from the car, Eddie said. You don't mind if I change at your place, do you, Janet? Not at all. I have an extra an extra bathroom. All right, partner, I'm out of here. He shook Julian's hand and gave him a hug. I'll see you and Sam around 7. Make sure you're on time. I can't afford to get to the studio late. Before I forget, let me write down the directions. No need. He pulled a piece of paper from out his pants pocket. I got the directions off the internet. And don't worry, I'll be there on time. I wouldn't miss seeing Samantha for the world. Then he turned to Terry with a sly grin on his face. Nice meeting you, Terry. I'm sure we'll meet again. After all, we do have something in common. What's that? Julian. Eddie and Janet walked out of the door hand in hand. After they were gone, Terry lay down on the sofa and covered her face with her hands. What's wrong, baby? I don't understand how you could be friends with such a conceited asshole. Eddie and I go back a long way. He's always been there for me through thick and thin. But I'm nothing like him. I promise you. For our sake, I hope not. because I could never deal with a man like that. He's too slick and arrogant. And worst of all, he's a liar. He had the nerve to say he wants a family someday, knowing doggone well that's the furthest thing from his mind, she said. I would never tolerate being lied to, Julian. I couldn't handle that. Don't worry, baby. Julian walked over and wrapped his arms around her. I would never do anything to disrespect you. You're my queen. They kissed one another gently on the lips at first, then it grew into a passionate kiss. Terry spun Julian around and laid down on top of him. She angled her body so that his penis was between her legs. Then she turned his head to the side and began kissing him on the neck. Damn, Terry, never seen this side of you. Who you calling Terry? She said in a nasty whisper. My name is Eve. Okay, Eve, are we going to grind each other to death, or are we going to take this to the next level? That depends. On what? On whether or not you can miss work tonight, because once I get my motor started, there ain't no stopping me. You know I can't do that. Well, I guess this will have to wait. Terry slowly got up and backed away. Come on, baby. Don't torture me like this. Give a brother a rain check or something. Tomorrow won't work for me. I have a visitor coming. A visitor? Who? Aunt Bessie. You never mentioned that you have an aunt named Bessie. I'm talking about my period, silly. Don't you men know anything? Can't you put it on hold? You know, take a pill, stand on your head, anything. Just make it stop. My period is as accurate as an atomic clock. It's never late. Maybe we can get together after work. Be patient, sweetheart. I promise you, it'll be worth the wait. Just enjoy your weekend with Eddie. I'll do something extra special for you next week. She pushed Julian down on the sofa again. Besides, I'm not going anywhere. Not tonight, not tomorrow, not ever. That is the end of chapter 17. Stay tuned.